Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some small housekeeping items. This is a webinar format, which means that all attendees are in listen and view only mode. So you do not have the ability to unmute or start your cameras. You will be able to ask questions throughout the presentation using the Q&A icon located on your Zoom toolbar. Also, please feel free to use the chat feature to send any comments or feedback. Please do not put your questions in the chat feature. Use that Q&A icon, please. You are also able to access closed captioning by selecting um, any of the available languages that you would like to use in the session. You can see the Show Captions button on your Zoom toolbar. And with that, I would now like to turn the session over to Zach. Take it away, Zach.
Thank you, David. You can go to the next slide, please. So we're going to go over some housekeeping. Thank you for joining us. We're happy you're here today. And we're going to highlight some of the good information in this webinar. First, we start every meeting or webinar event off with the safety moment. Today it's from the American Red Cross preparedness. Then we're going to get into some good news to know. And we're also going to be giving away some prizes and going over our team introductions, but then we're going to get into the program overview for electric and natural gas-based heat rebates, followed by the standard and hybrid rebates. Then we're going to get into some fuel switching and utility-funded distributor space and water heater rebate and contractor spiffs. And that includes HSPF2 SEER 2 updates and a new zip code tool lookup, as well as electric and natural gas water heater updates and rebates, and then an energy cost calculator. And then we're going to end things off with a Q&A session with today's panelists. So stick around for that. And at the very end, we're going to be getting in contact post-event with a survey, and that's where the winners will be contacted. So, and with that, we'll get into the safety moment. Next slide. So some of the key takeaways here is one, to get a kit. If there's ever an event where you need to be prepared for, say, an evacuation or to stay in your home for a power outage. Two is to make a plan, and three is to be informed. So at a minimum, you should have the basic supplies listed below here. A water enough for at least a 2-week supply. Food, non-perishable items, some things that are easy to prepare, and a flashlight, battery powered or hand cranked radio, some extra batteries, a good first aid kit, some medications if you take medications, and some multi-purpose tools as well. And then it's always good to have sanitation and personal hygiene items, copies of all your personal records, and a cell phone with chargers, and a family and emergency contact information as well, some extra cash, an emergency blanket, and some maps of the area to get you from point A to point B. Next slide. And to continue that, consider the needs of all the family members as well. Something that I'd like to highlight on here is pets as well. Sometimes those get left behind, and it's really important that they have all the necessary items they need as well, but as well as medical supplies, baby supplies, games or activities for children, keep them busy if the power goes out, and an extra set of car keys or house keys can be very helpful. Some additional supplies to keep at your home or in your survival kit as well would be a whistle, an N95 mask, some matches, rain gear, towels, work gloves, and tools and supplies for securing your home, as well as extra clothing, plastic sheeting, duct tape, scissors, household liquid bleach, and some entertainment items, and then again, blankets and some sleeping bags. Next slide. So some good news to know, PSE is currently offering our website in multiple languages listed here. So for any contractors or customers looking to get to our website, it's offered in multiple languages here: English, Spanish, Chinese, Russian, Vietnamese, Korean, and Hindi. It's great. And next slide. And now I'm going to kick it off and go over introductions. Today's panelists. Again, my name is Zach Kaya, an outreach manager. And with that, I'll hand it over to John.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is John Davey. I'm the program manager for the Downstream Residential Space Heat program. And now over to Megan.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Megan Lacey, and I'm the program manager for PSE's targeted electrification pilot, which includes those fuel switching heat pump rebates that you might be familiar with. And I'll hand things off to Kim.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kim Stevens, program coordinator for PSE's commercial rebates team. And over to anyone.
Hi, I'm Emily Neiman, Program Coordinator for the Trade Ally Network. And with that, I'll hand it over to Colin.
Good morning, everyone. Colin Stone. I'm the Program Manager for the Trade Ally Network. And Will.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Will Dixon. I'm a supervisor with the Customer Energy Management team with a focus on single family. You want to go back and kick it off there? Great.
Yeah. So, just to let you know, everyone out there, the prizes for today, our grand prize winner will be receiving a $300 DoorDash gift card to treat your team. And then 10 winners will receive a $20 Starbucks gift card. So make sure to stick around for the full event and to fill out that post-event survey. Next slide. So why energy efficiency? At PSC, we're dedicated to providing achievable, cost-effective energy savings and programs and measures for our ratepayers. And these programs are developed using the ratepayer dollars. So it's really important that they get those savings and the regional saving estimates as well. So some of the cost effectiveness is key. These incentives are rate repayments back to the customer. And then the verification of these savings is essential as it's consistently following with PSC's documentation requirements. So it's really important, again, that they get those savings that are passed along. And with that, I think we'll get into the program and hand it over to John.
Thank you. Thank you, Zach. Great to have you all here today. So today we will be covering electric and natural gas space heat rebates. Can we go to the next slide, please? First, let's cover some key points. Before offering a rebate, please make sure your customer is a PSE electric or PSE natural gas customer. Much of PSE territory overlaps with other utilities, or customers at times use heating sources like propane. So please confirm a home's primary heat source before offering a rebate. One rebate per qualified single-family residence, but if the home is above 3,000 square feet and currently has two separate zonal systems, then you can install and offer two natural gas furnaces or two heat pump incentives. Please make sure invoices are accurate and have the correct model number on them. This will help reduce missing document requests and help us pay you quicker. Next slide, please. So let's cover what a single family home is for the downstream space heat program. They are defined as structures with 4 units or less attached by a contiguous roof line. New construction is not eligible for single-family existing programs. Manufactured or factory-built homes are defined as plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical systems normally contained within the belly of the structure and within a rodent barrier. They're built on a permanent chassis, can be transported in one or more sections, may or may not be permanently affixed to a concrete foundation. Next slide, please. Increased rebates are available for manufactured homes and qualified efficiency boost customers. These are customers whose household incomes are less than 90% of area median income. Please be sure to let your customers know that this option is available to them. There are also benefits for you participating, like not having to pay referral fees for efficiency boost customers referred to you. Next slide, please. And now for the fun part. the changes for 2024. First up, the new changes are contractors have the option to now apply for smart thermostats and HVAC rebates on a single application. So this will hopefully make the process much easier for offering those systems and the smart thermostats. Ductless heat pumps are increasing from $800 to $1,500. Furnace incentives are reducing to $250 for the standard rebate and to $750 for efficiency boost in manufactured home. The hybrid pilot is becoming part of the downstream space heat offerings. The HSPF2 requirements for heat pumps are being reduced. And then this year, we're retiring the downstream boiler and integrated space and water heat rebates, as well as the cold climate heat pump pilot. That is also ending. The incentives for boilers and integrated space and water heat installs are no longer being offered in the downstream program, though if you are installing qualifying equipment in 2024, you can offer customers incentives for boilers at midstream. And if you're installing qualifying tankless water heater for an integrated space and water heater system, you may be able to get an incentive through the downstream tankless water heater program. Next slide, please. So here's the details about the gas furnace incentive. For equipment, we're looking for an AHRI certified or Energy Star qualified system with a 95% annual fuel utilization efficiency rating or better. Again, the rebate is $250 for single family or $750 for manufactured homes and efficiency boost. The customer requirements are that they are a PSE natural gas customer. On the application, we have also added 2 new questions about the precondition of the furnace. So the first is, was the previous furnace broken or functioning? And the second is, was it a condensing or non-condensing furnace? Please help us improve this offering by answering these questions. Next slide. This is the natural gas and electric hybrid space heat pilot, which is continuing under the space heat program. This is for installing a heat pump with a gas furnace. The equipment requirements are an AHRI certified heat pump with an HSPF 1 of 8.5 or an HSPF 2 of 7.2 or higher. If there is both, then the HSPF is the qualifying number. The balance point, the system must be sized to have a balance point of 30 degrees or below, and the auxiliary heat control blockout must be set at 35 degrees or below. This is for ducted only systems. If you install just a heat pump into a gas furnace, it's $1,700. If you install a heat pump with a 95% efficient gas furnace, it is $1,950. The customer requirements are PSE gas and electric customer, and the primary existing heating must be a gas forced air system. This is separate from the electrification pilot and only offered through approved rep customers who have received training. So please reach out to us if you're interested. Next slide, please. So the space heat program has increased the ductless heat pump incentive from $800 to $1,500. Now all electric resistance to ductless or ducted heat pump rebates are $1,500. This will hopefully reduce confusion about the amount of incentive a customer should expect and improve the overall customer experience. We still have the same 3 measures for you to choose from when filling out the application: zonal electric resistance to ductless heat pump, electric forced air to ductless heat pump, and electric forced air to air source heat pump, which is the ducted option. So please pay attention to the precondition and postcondition so that the install matches the correct incentive on the application. If you're uncertain which is the correct system and have a mix of ducted and ductless, please reach out to an energy advisor, your assigned verification team member, or myself to confirm. And the equipment requirements for this is an AHRI certified as a mini split heat pump, minimum HSPF of 9 or HSPF 2 of 8.1 or higher. If there's both, again, the HSPF is the qualifying number. It uses inverter technology, and the minimum is 9,000 BTUs, 3/4 ton capacity. And for this first one, it's the primary existing heat must be zonal ER, so that's baseboard, cable, wall heater, or electric hydronic. Next slide, please. Also with this ER to ductless heat pump incentive, ADUs are allowed. The requirements are that the ADU is occupied full time, and ADU, additional dwelling unit, sorry, must be independent of the primary dwelling with no venting from the primary unit, and must include a fully functioning kitchen and full bathroom. Next slide. The next heat pump measure is electric forced air to ductless heat pump. So the same equipment requirements as the previous one. The only difference is that the primary existing is an electric forced air furnace for this one. And like the previous measure, must have one indoor head be installed in the main living area of the home. Bedroom installations do not qualify. Next slide, please. And so for the electric forced air to traditional unitary heat pump, this is a centrally ducted system, AHRI certified with an HSPF of 8.5 or HSPF 2 of 7.2 or higher. Again, if both, then the HSPF 1 is the qualifying. PSC electric customer, primary heating must be electric forced air furnace to qualify. If you have a ducted ductless mini split, that may qualify if it's serving the entire home. Please reach out to us to confirm. Next slide, please. We have a poll question for you. How frequently does your company install smart thermostats with furnaces and heat pumps? Every time, regularly, occasionally, rarely, or never? And give you all a minute to answer. It looks like regularly is the winner. So we have some very good news for you on this next slide, please. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So this year we are offering, we've tried to make it much easier for you to apply for the smart thermostat rebate and the heat pump and furnace rebate on one application. So if you're already doing it, this is a good chance to provide a little extra for your customers. It's $75 per smart thermostat, or if you're installing line voltage thermostats, it's also $75, but you can install up to 5 of those per home. Let's go to the next slide, please. Advanced duct sealing. This is continuing in 2024. This is a $1,250 incentive, must be offered as an instant rebate listed on the invoice, must use an internal duct sealant to seal pressurized ductwork. Duct leakage eligibility shall be determined by a test that quantifies the leakage to the duct's exterior. So the leakage test requires above 200 CFM at 50 pascals or the equivalent. Most tests are being done at 25 pascals, so that's 125 CFM or above. And then we require a duct sealing report showing the before and after leakage. If you're interested in offering this, please reach out to us and can cover it some more. Next slide, please. Also, we've updated the heating cost calculator. This is available in Trade Ally Connect. So this now has the 2023-2024 costs. And this is a tool showing efficiency ratings and different heating equipment how that affects a home's annual energy consumption. So it's a great tool for you to show to your customers what changing or upgrading to a more efficient system saves on average. I really appreciate all your great work this last year, and I'm looking forward to working with you all this next year. And that's it on my end. So next up, we have Megan Lacey covering the targeted electrification pilot.
Everyone, jumping in really quick here to go over our fuel switching heat pump rebates. So we are continuing these into 2024. As a recap, they are only available to our dual fuel customers. Those are folks that have both a PSE gas and electric account. This will be for installations on or after June 19th of 2023. We are requiring that the pre-existing gas furnace or boiler has to be fully removed or decommissioned. So cut and capped is fine as well. In order to qualify. So this is not a hybrid heating situation that's under John. This is a fully electric transition for the fuel switching heat pump rebates. We are changing the equipment requirements as well as the rebate amounts for 2024. So we are switching to a $3,000 rebate for either a ducted or ductless system. And then we now have a $4,000 rebate for those manufactured homes, as well as for our efficiency boost program. So we received a lot of feedback about the equipment requirements. And so listening to you guys, as well as our various customers and partners, we are rolling back our IRA equipment requirements. So we'll only be looking at the HSPF 2 values. So we'll no longer be looking at ER2, CR2, COP, heating capacity, all of that stuff. So we have the ducted systems with the HSPF 2 greater than or equal to 8.1 and greater than or equal to 9.5 for those ductless systems. So those are still in alignment with the IRA tax credit. And we still have the tax credit information on our electric home webpage for customers that are interested in maximizing their incentives. However, to really kind of encourage participation with these rebates, we're rolling back and we're just looking at the HSPF 2 values for the PSE rebates. So folks that have applied in 2023 and were did not qualify because they didn't meet, say, like a COP requirement, they can reapply until the end of March. And we'll just be looking at the HSPF 2 requirement, and we'll be honoring the 2023 rebate amounts for those so we can match all the invoicing and whatnot. Also, as a quick shout out, we are also continuing our home electrification assessments. You can check that out on our electric plan webpage. But essentially, we're creating in-home assessments with customers, providing them an electrification roadmap. So they might have some questions. Just know that that's an offering as well in case you hear about it out in the field. All right, and with that, I'm actually going to hand it off to Kim.
Thanks, Megan. So hello, everyone. Tommy isn't able to join us today, so I'll be presenting our residential midstream water and space heat rebates on his behalf. But he did want me to relay that you should feel free to contact him if you have any questions regarding his programs, and I put his email address on this title slide. So with that, let's get started. Next slide, please. So we'll start with the midstream program objectives. So the main goal of this program is to increase the number of high efficiency heat pumps that are installed in PSE residential customer homes. So this is done by partnering with local HVAC distributors to boost sales of qualifying high efficiency products. Distributors will receive a small incentive to cover their administrative costs of collecting valid PSE customer addresses from contractors. And since contractors have a strong influence over customer product decisions, they're well equipped to sell the benefits of high efficiency heat pumps. So for this reason, distributors must pass those incentives on to the contractors. And then PSE does encourage contractors to pass the incentive through to the end customer. Next slide, please. So who is eligible for the midstream rebates? This is a regional program. So all customers with electric service from Snohomish PUD, Seattle City Light, and PSE qualify for high efficiency heat pump rebates. At this time, Tacoma Power and small municipalities like Blaine and Ellisburg are not participating, therefore they're eligible for the rebate. And unlike our downstream rebates, which are single family retrofit only, midstream rebates are available for single family, multifamily, small commercial customers. And this does apply to both new construction and retrofit projects. But please keep in mind that there is only, there's a limit of 1 rebate per residential household, but there's no limit on commercial installs. So if we're doing small commercial installs, there's no limit there. Next slide, please. So what do contractors need to provide to distributors to participate? You'll see on the service territory map on the right, light green is PSE territory, the dark green is SNOPUD, and then that small dark blue area is Seattle City Light. Those are the 3 that are participating. To receive the incentive from the distributor, you must provide the full installation address, including suite number if there is one, the customer or business name, the business type, whether it be single family, office, retail, etc., the project type, whether it's new construction or retrofit, and then the estimated installation date. So now some distributors apply the discounts at the time of purchase, and then others will credit your account once they receive the rebate from the utility. So it's best to just check with your distributor to learn how they pass along the incentives. And the next slide, please. So now on to specific incentives, starting with residential small commercial heat pumps. I think we have 3 different ones here I'm going to talk about. So eligibility is listed by AHRI rated values in the table seen here, and it's based on sales date. We do want to note that that top row there, the split system requirements, they are not finalized yet. We're double checking a few things with these split systems, but we'll be sure to share that information out with everyone once we have it. But the rest of this table is up to date. So in order to allow distributors and contractors to use up existing inventory, we will be accepting all HSPF installs through the end of 2024. All incentives are listed here as a dollar amount for outdoor system. And then just a reminder that there is a limit of 1 rebate per residential household, but no limit on small commercial installs. And rebates are for electric customers, natural gas only customers are not. So next slide, please. Moving on to residential space heat boilers. This is a new rebate to the midstream channel for 2024. Again, incentives are listed as a dollar amount per unit. Eligibility is listed by AHRI, excuse me, rated AFUE values. Must be a PSE residential gas customer. Electric only customers are not eligible. There is a limit of 1 condensing gas boiler per residence, and these rebates are not available to SNOPUD or Seattle City Light customers. And if you have any questions regarding equipment, please reach out to the program implementer, which is Energy Solutions. Next slide, please. Okay, and last but not least, commercial and residential water heaters. Again, these incentives are listed as dollar per unit. Equipment capacity is AHRI rated capacity or capacity at AHRI conditions for units without the rating. Must be an existing PSE residential gas customer. Again, electric only customers are not eligible for this rebate. And these are not available to SNOPUD or Seattle City customers. Similar to residential space heat boilers, please reach out to the program implementer Energy Solutions if you have any equipment related questions for this video. And next slide, please. Okay, so PSE tools. We know who qualifies for what rebate is a lot to keep straight. So we do have a few helpful tools to make life a little easier. The PSE midstream website is up to date. It includes distributor lists and QPLs. What you'll need to know there. And then we do have a regional midstream zip code lookup tool. So what you can do here is you type in the customer zip code and it will tell you if they qualify for gas or electric rebates. It's really simple. In the green zip code here, just type that in, it populates everything else for you. But please keep in mind that this zip code tool only applies to our midstream rebates, so don't try and use it for any downstream rebates. And I think that is it for residential midstream. We'll do a quick poll question here before moving on to water heat. So poll number 2, how many of you are participating in PSE midstream rebate program currently? Yes for heat pumps, yes for water heat, yes for both. No, it is too difficult to maneuver. No, I don't see the value. And no, I didn't know anything about it until today. So I'll give you a second to answer that one. Yes for heat pumps. Ooh, awesome. Cool. Well, we are going to talk a little bit more about heat pumps and water heat, moving on to Will. So let's hand it over to you, Will.
Great. Good morning again, everybody. So I'm going to be fairly brief on this. Next slide, please. Okay, so there's some changes this year, and I just want to probably spend most of the focus here. These changes were sort of not made in a vacuum. We spoke with distributors and some of your fellow trade allies to understand how things had gone in the past year or so with regards to water heat, and so we've made some adjustments with that sort of input. So the heat pump water heater rebates are no longer going to be offered through the residential midstream channel. They're now going to be offered through a downstream program. The rebates will continue to be offered through retail, which is to consumers primarily via participating Lowe's and the Home Depot stores. But there's an opportunity there for referrals and you all getting an opportunity to do installations on these heat pump water heaters in that channel. So again, we're going to have a downstream channel, which is very similar to our other downstream channels that for other products that we offer that we rebate, and then we're going to continue to have the retail program that we've had since last year. Residential gas boiler rebates are no longer going to be offered through the downstream, and I think Kim covered on those. Those will be offered through midstream. Gas storage tank water heaters, we weren't seeing a terrible amount of traction there on the downstream side, so those have actually been moved over to midstream, and the feedback we got is that that's probably going to be better for trade allies. Requirements here, of course, you must be a current PSE residential natural gas or electric customer, depending upon what kind of equipment you're putting in, which I'll get to in a second. And we're no longer offering rebates on integrated space and water heat, with the exception of low-income housing situations. Next slide, please. Okay, so just some general qualifications here, probably no big surprises to many of you. Got to be a current PSE single-family residential natural gas or electric customer, new construction and multifamily, meaning 5 units or more attached, and commercial accounts are not eligible for what I'm sharing in these set of slides. Applications got to be submitted within 30 days of install, and we're looking at only new and qualifying equipment here. And equipment replaced under warranties is not eligible for a second rebate. 1 rebate for each residence, and rebates cannot exceed the pre-tax purchase price of any rebated product. Paid installation invoice and purchase receipts. Again, this is the paperwork part that we mentioned very early on, very critical to your success in terms of if you're applying to get reimbursed for a rebate on the downstream. You want to make sure you've got all your paperwork together so you can see all the specifics that we need there. Installations have got to comply, of course, with all the requirements of code, local and otherwise. And these, generally speaking, unless otherwise stipulated, you can't combine a particular rebate with other rebates. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 2 main offerings here, one on the gas side and one on the electric side. On the gas side, it's the tankless water heaters. We've had these already. We're going to continue to offer these as a downstream measure. So these are Energy Star certified tankless water heaters. The rebate is $250. I'm calling that the base rebate. For efficiency boosts or manufactured homes, there are adders there, so the rebate goes up in those two cases respectively to in both cases to $600, and then of course it's got to be a PSE natural gas customer. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Next slide, please, because I know we're a little tight on time. In terms of the choices for heat pump water heaters, again, we're going to continue with our retail program, and we also are going to have a downstream program, but the rebates are the same either way. The requirements here in terms of equipment are they've got to be either a tier 3 or a tier 4 NEA designated unit. So you can see that the base rebate is $500, and then if you are dealing with a customer who qualifies for efficiency boost or it's a manufactured home, the rebates are either $700 or $750 depending upon the specification on the equipment. Again, required PSE electric customer. There's a size maximum there, 120, less than 120 gallons. And the downstream obviously is more applicable to all of you. The idea here is you provide the customer proposal. It lists very specifically the rebate in the proposal. You pass that through to the customer, and then you apply to get reimbursed from PSE. In the retail case, the customer is going to receive the rebate upfront, and the opportunity there is for you all to get some business in terms of the installation. I also will mention that we're going to equip you with the information when you are in customer's home in the downstream scenario to be able to help them judge whether or not they might qualify for the larger efficiency boost measures. In other words, the $200 adder on the tier 3 or the $250 adder on the tier 4. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so just to recap here and make sure we're clear on the details. Retail, we're talking about electric hybrid heat pump water heaters that are rebated at the point of sale at participating Lowe's and Home Depots. We use a coupon validation program to basically make sure it's 1 unit per customer. The customers are going to be obtaining these coupons either in the store or online. They're required to provide their phone number and their address. In the case of the downstream situation, it captures the customers who have not received an incentive through retail or other means, customers who purchase a qualifying heat pump water heater online or at non-participating stores. So there are Home Depot and Lowe's stores and other brand names who will be selling qualifying heat pumps. It's important to understand these are heat pumps that have got to be on our qualified products list, which is going to be posted on the TAC, on the Trade Ally Connect site. It's important here, I've got this bolded, it's assuming that no other rebates have been received on the equipment. So that's really important if the customer is going to receive a rebate as part of your downstream interaction with them. Contractors who purchase qualifying heat pump water heaters, if they bought those in 2023 through a midstream distributor, you're going to need to see the original receipts because we don't want to double pay on rebates. That's something that we will strictly enforce. So please keep that in mind. Contractors can use a non-participating or out-of-state distributor to source their qualifying heat pumps. Again, if no rebate has been paid to the contractor. In theory, let's say you bought a heat pump water heater in Oregon and you were installing it at a PSE customer's home here in Washington State. We'd have to make sure there was no rebate paid through the store where you bought it in Oregon. Customers are also eligible for additional bonuses. So that would be the manufactured home or the efficiency boost, either or, not both. And then incentives are based on the type of housing or their income status for those two additional adders. Okay, next slide, please. Great. I'm going to turn it back over to Kim to talk a little bit about commercial water heat.
Thanks, Will. Hi again. So while this presentation is geared towards residential program updates, since many of you work with both residential and small medium business, we wanted to make sure that you're also aware of our commercial heat pump water heater rebates. So a lot of this is very similar to the residential heat pump water heater rebates. So I'm not going to repeat what Will just said, but there are a few differences. Next slide, please. So as far as the general qualifications go, they're very similar to residential water heat, with a few exceptions, which I have highlighted in bold here. So the differences are they must be a current PSC commercial electric customer, not residential. Gas only customers don't qualify for this rebate. New construction, multifamily, and residential accounts do not qualify for the commercial rebate. They will qualify for the residential rebate. And slightly different from residential qualifications is that commercial customers have 60 days instead of 30 days of equipment installation to submit the rebate application. So that is one difference to note. The rest of the general qualifications are the same as the residential ones we'll just went over. So I won't read them again, but they are here for reference. And then before I jump into the rebate details, one thing I do want to highlight, which Will has talked a bit about already, is the adoption of heat pump water heaters. It's continuing to gain momentum. You know, we continue to see public policies and state and federal incentives aimed at boosting energy efficiency, increased consumer awareness and satisfaction in heat pump water heaters, and more efficient technologies hitting the market. So all of this combined really represents a huge opportunity for contractors. So with that in mind, we'll go to the next slide and go over the commercial rebate details. So again, as Will mentioned, we are transitioning from the current midstream model to the customer rebate style downstream model. For commercial, we have 2 rebates for heat pump water heaters. Similar to residential, they need to be tier 3 or greater on NEA's Northern Climate Specifications version 8. For our tier 4 models, it is a $650 rebate. And then for our tier 3 models, it is a $600 rebate. As mentioned in the general qualifications, this is for electric customers only. Residential, new construction, multifamily are not eligible. We use the same residential size heat pump water heaters as the residential rebate, so less than 120 gallons. For any larger systems, please check out our custom retrofit grants program. Contractors can either direct customers to the PSC rebate application on our website, and the customer can apply for the rebate, or they can pass the rebate through to the customer as an instant rebate. That applying for the rebate is a super simple process. It's the same application, whether it's customer or contractor, and you can find that application and additional details on the website that I have listed on that slide there. So that's really all I have for commercial heat pump water heaters. So we'll move on to another poll question. Are you interested in one-on-one PSE rebate training for your office staff? Single choice. Yes, maybe, not needed, you're already an expert, not needed, you're too small, or not needed, your rebates are easy to understand and relate to our customers. So I'll give you a second there. Okay, we've got, looks like the majority is maybe, so that is good to know, and we will hopefully get something set up for you. And with that, let's introduce Colin Stone and Emily Neiman. They're going to talk to you about Trade Ally Network. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Good morning, everyone. As mentioned, Emily and I, we oversee the Trade Ally Network, along with another colleague, Guncha. Those of you who are Trade Allies existing, you may have interacted with one of the 3 of us already. Just wanted to give a few details about the Trade Ally Network to any of the contractors attending today that maybe aren't already a Trade Ally. So if we can go to the next slide, please. Some of the program benefits to joining the Trade Ally Network is our program support team, Emily, myself, as well as the other program managers who have presented today. You will have access to all of us for program resources, rebate questions, and any troubleshooting. PSE instant rebates. So as mentioned by others, the ability to offer these rebates to customers as an instant rebate is a big selling point, allowing the customer to receive that right at the point of sale. And then you would apply for reimbursement after the fact. We do have limited time offers throughout the years that are reserved to either our trade allies or our recommended energy professionals. So you would have access to participate in those. And then additionally, we do have a customer referral service available to our recommended energy professionals. So if, once you join the Trade Ally Network, you become a Trade Ally as you enter. After 6 months, you can apply to become a recommended energy professional. And at that point, you would have access to receive referrals from PSC connecting customers to your business. And then we also have special PSC initiatives or special programs such as our FlexSmart Plus program, Efficiency Boost, and some others. Next slide, please. This just goes into a little bit of the instant rebate ability for trade allies. You submit all of the same documentation that a customer would receive or submit. We have a rebate portal that you would have access to upload those documents. I'm just making sure to capture and make sure the equipment qualifications are met, customer qualifications are met. Instant rebates are optional. You don't have to provide those as a trade ally, but we do ask as a minimal service, you at least make the customer aware of the eligible rebates and leave behind a rebate application for the customer to submit on their own. If you have any questions about any of this, you can reach out to our team at tradeallysupport@psc.com. We have training resources, application processes. We'll get you through the process. Next slide, please. This is just a quick example of our sample invoice showing some of the key details that if you are providing instant rebates, these are the things that we are looking to see on your invoice when you submit for reimbursement. So we want an invoice date and an invoice number, customer details of where the equipment was installed, an installation date if it's different from the invoice date, and then the list of the equipment based on model number and manufacturer model numbers, the price for those, and then any rebates that are provided to the customers. Instant rebates, we want to see those listed out individually. Great example, if you're doing a space heating combined with a thermostat, we do want to see those split out so we know the customer's getting both of those. Next slide, please. And then we do have verification across all of our programs. So if you are providing instant rebates to customers, we do remind you just to let the customers know that PSC does verify their rebate projects, and PSC may be contacting them to set up and schedule a verification appointment. Next slide, please. And then our polling question, I think this is the last one. Are you interested in becoming a PSC trade ally? Either yes, no, maybe, or you're already a trade ally or a rep. All right, we have a lot of existing trade allies and reps here, so thank you for attending. If you did select yes, we'll be sure to follow up with you for resources and the application process. And with that, here's additional resources. Again, Trade Ally Support at psc.com is the best point of contact for us. And I'm going to hand it back over to Zach.
Thanks, Colin. And with that, just like again here to plug some of the program resources and useful links. These will also be in the chat, and it's just good information to have in your back pocket for any other questions, or you can find a lot of great information on our website. So with that, we're going to open up the last 10 minutes here for some Q&As. So hopefully we can get to everybody's questions, but if you can't, please feel free to reach out to us as well via email or yeah, send us a message. Yeah. So with that, it looks like first question here is from Dean. Dean would like to know why are SCL customers being removed from gas rebates? Would any of the panelists like to answer that?
For standard rebates, that is not the case. So Seattle City Light customers can receive gas if they're PSE natural gas incentives.
Okay, great, thanks, Sean. The next question here is from Drusha. Drusha would like to know regarding the midstream rebates, where is the zip code tool?
Hi, so I have, as Tommy's a program manager, I have an Excel sheet. I'm not sure if that's something that I can share, but I will make sure I figure out where contractors can access the lookup tool, and we will get back to them. I've made a note of it.
Great, thanks, Kim. Looks like our next question here comes from Melissa. Melissa would like to know if, or are you sending the presentation to everyone? And would like to know if they could get one sent as well as for reference. And it looks like our events team here is just typing an answer, so I'll get that over to you. And then the next question here comes from Becca. And Becca would like to know if every storage water heater that we applied for on our downstream project was rejected, and how can they make sure that their water heaters are eligible in the future?
Yeah, I'll take that one. First of all, sorry for your frustration, Becca. We try really hard to have a very clear path for reimbursement on all equipment. For a lot of the equipment, we have qualified product lists. For the hot water tanks, which of course the storage hot water tanks, just to be clear, gas, are going to be moving from downstream to midstream, so the process will be a little different. But if you've got if you think you've got some products, some applications you've submitted late in 2023, I'm happy to chat with you about them. The answer to the question is there's this, I don't know it off the top of my head, but there is a pretty specific specification for the tank storage gas water heaters. So I can get that to you. I'm also happy to look at what models you've been trying to submit and see if we can understand where the disconnect is. And I believe the email addresses were in the front part of, individual email addresses were in the front part, but I can reach out to you after the event and we can chat.
All right, thanks, Will. Our next question comes from Chase, and Chase would like to know why does it state that the purchases must be made at Lowe's or Home Depot, and that people call them and get kind of confused.
Okay, so again, in 2024, we're going to continue the retail program, and what you're referring to there, Jason, is the retail program where consumers can go in typically and get one unit, and they get a coupon and they take it up to the cash register and they get an instant rebate. For the downstream program, this is where you trade allies are developing relationships with our customers, and you're providing the labor and usually the materials to put in a new heat pump water heater. All I can say is hopefully we're going to be going forward. We're going to be making very clear distinction on our website between downstream and retail. So you may get contacted by customers who have bought their units at retail, or you may be asked to say, hey, I need to get a heat pump water heater bid from you, soup to nuts. Can you provide that to me? So I think the answer is in 2023, there may have been some confusion about that. I think it's going to be a lot clearer in 2024 because we're going to have a distinct downstream option for customers. I hope that helps.
Great, thanks, Will. And Janice would like to know if their 24 and 4,000 electric space heat rebates, either a manufactured home or efficiency boost qualified, or are they paired, and do they have to be both a manufactured home and efficiency boost qualified? I don't know, Megan, if you want to answer that one.
Yeah, it's a good clarification. So just to recap, the rebate amounts are now 3,000 and 4,000. 3,000 is just for our standard offering, and the $4,000 rebate is for manufactured homes or efficiency boost. So they don't have to be both efficiency boost and manufactured homes. It can be either or.
Yeah, yeah, thanks, Megan. Can I just add something to that? Sort of just
Mhm.
generally across the board, just so everybody's clear. Let's suppose you had you as a contractor had a customer who resided in manufactured housing. The trick there is for them to decide, and oftentimes it's the same dollar amount in some cases, not always. Obviously, if one is higher than the other, they would pursue it, but they can pursue either the manufactured home rebate for measures or the efficiency boost rebate, but they can't pursue both. Just to make sure everybody's clear on that.
Great. So it looks like Cassius would like to know, are the 2024 gas furnace incentive rebates in effect already? John, you want to take that one?
Yes, they're in effect. We go off of install date. So when you input the install date, that will determine the incentive amount when you
Great.
apply for projects. Yeah.
All right. And Tarsila would like to know if or where they can find the tools for load calc and cost analysis. Megan?
I was just going to point out that that tool, as well as the midstream tool, that link has been provided in the chat. It's psc.com/rebates/trade allies.
Great. All right. And next we have a question from David. For the heat pump water heaters, are the additional rebates for Duval and Bainbridge Island still going through 2024?
Yes, they are. Just make sure you're familiar with what the actual dollar amounts are. For the most part, those are continuing.
Great. And looks like we got a question from Christy, wanted to know if the rebate forms note the ability for 2 rebates with the 3,000 square foot and 2 systems.
That is not currently on the rebate form.
Okay, good to know. And Tim, in Whatcom County, there are numerous propane customers switching to heat pumps to get off of propane. Would you consider it an incentive program to have a cold climate heat pump incentive that can be set under 13 degrees Fahrenheit in the future? And we could not apply for the cold climate rebate, says here, for customers we serve because there was no matched indoor units that worked for many of the systems, and many of the customers who are not PSC gas but are PSC electric are interested in this. Is that something you could touch on, Megan?
Yeah, so unfortunately, we can only offer our fuel switching rebates for PSC gas and electric customers, and also they need to be switching from PSC natural gas to PSC electric. So we cannot incentivize propane to electric at this time. And then we did move away from that cold climate structure because of these scenarios where there's just limited options. So now there's just a rebate for ducted or ductless systems. We're no longer specifying a differentiation between like standard and cold climate.
Great, thank you, Megan. Vince here would like to know if they're a PSC rep partner, and where on the Trade Ally page do they find the 1700 and 1950 rebate submission forms?
Best to reach out to the Trade Ally team directly about this, and we'll provide the training and we'll provide you additional information.
Not sure if Zach lost internet connection here. I'll just jump in and keep us going here. Will there be any program similar to the cold climate heat pumps in the future, or is the gas to electric program the only program for the future?
Just to recap, for the gas to electric, we also are moving away from the cold climate structure. Again, that was just because there was some limited participation, but I can't say that we wouldn't revisit in the future once there's kind of a more robust qualified products list. There's maybe some more education surrounding the system. So it's just not being offered this year, but I won't speak to future years. And I also think we're at time, so I do want to call that out as well.
Yep, I do see that we have a couple more questions. We will be sure to follow up to those after this. And if you have any additional questions that we didn't get to, please reach out to us and we will be sure to get those answered. Zach, it looks like you might be back. If you want to close us out.
Yeah, thank you, Colin. Sorry about that. It's like my computer died on me, but
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Sorry about that, guys. Looks like had some technical difficulties, but thank you for joining us today. Our winners will be contacted Wednesday, January 10th for that $300 DoorDash gift certificate to treat your team. And the 10 winners will receive that $20 Starbucks gift card. So please, if there's any other questions, to follow up with us. And for January 12th, there will be a recording and resource links. So don't forget to take those post-event surveys as well, and visit pse.com/events to find us in the community. Thanks, everyone.